of the Week preview show. Brought to you by Metro PCS.
Metro PCS pregame show for our UTV 44 Game of the Week, last week of the regular season, and we're back at the Metro PCS all the way out here on Airport Boulevard, way on the west side, and all of the Metro PCS locations here have the new iPhones in stock. Kind of a big deal. We'll talk more about that throughout the broadcast. Jim Cox here with Dan Brennan as we get ready for the Battle of Old Shell Road. We have done a lot of these over the past 16 years, haven't we?
Yeah, probably like 16. But it is a tradition to end our season on Old Shell Road, you know, at one address or the other.
Right.
Up on the hill or down on the flats. And it's always a very competitive game and kind of a little precursor to what these teams, St. Paul's and UMS-Wright, can look forward to in the playoffs.
Yeah, we got a chance to see a team we've been wanting to see all year long last week, Davidson Warriors. They came out, went up against a Murphy team, and we kind of, you know, we saw Murphy at the beginning of the year. We saw him struggle. We saw him really not have a great outing against McGill, and it was kind of the same thing we saw here this week. I know it's quarterback issues, but boy, on the positive, that Davidson team is really, you know, kind of a Fred Riley team like we've seen in years past as far as the success, but a much different looking Warrior team.
Yeah, they've got a great quarterback. They've got some really talented wide receiver. They got a tough running back too, and they, you know, that Davidson team just looked very cohesive to me. As cohesive a team, coaches coach all the time. You can say, well, this team's well coached or this team looks well coached. Well, they're coaching these rascals one way or the other. Sometimes teams come together, they buy in, they understand. And I think that's what Fred's got this year, is a team that really is buying into what he's selling. And when you have a quarterback and some wideouts like that, we see that with McGill, right? It's like, what do you do here? How do you slow it down? So Fred's got that kind of team, and a team that, like, they were fun to watch.
They were, and they're going to be fun in the playoffs. We'll see. You know, they got a tough draw in the first round, but we'll see. We'd love to see that McGill and Davidson rematch up here on UTV 44. Speaking of McGill, I saw Bubba Thompson just a couple days ago offered at Ole Miss, both baseball and football as well. So continues to be good news for that young man. So, you know, tonight's game, Friday night, we had playoff games that were deciding who's in and who's out, basically, last night. This is just a game, I think, that both coaches really like because they know it's kind of like playoff caliber opponents that they're going to see on both sides of the ball, and they know these are going to be, you know, as well coached and as efficiently run teams as they see anywhere in the playoffs.
And then the good news is it's not the playoffs.
Right.
So you can win and you feel great going into the playoffs. You can lose this game. Just go back, do your homework, figure out where your team is. You don't want to get anybody hurt in this game, that's for sure. If you can, but with the intensity that we've seen over the years, between the lines between UMS-Wright and St. Paul's, it's a miracle more kids don't get hurt.
Yeah, and it's a fun game to watch as a fan. It's a fun game to watch just how hard these kids play. They play like that every week, but it's just such a special, they're so close. The kids know each other. The coaching staffs are very close, very good friends. I mean, it really is an entertaining football game to watch.
Reminds me a little bit of Auburn, Alabama in that the players kind of deal with it maybe better than the fans do.
Yeah, mom and dad, I mean, there's houses, you know, you've got the Lelands sitting on this side, you've got their friends on this side always watching the game. I mean, there are some houses divided watching the game tonight, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And so what you'll see is two well-coached teams at their, you know, competitive best this evening as they get ready for the playoffs.
All right, we're at Metro PCS 7335 Airport Boulevard is where we're at. They have the new iPhone. If you're a UMS-Wright fan, 1270 Spring Hill Avenue or 2206 Spring Hill Avenue. Same thing. If you're a St. Paul's fan, you have those two locations to choose from. You can go anywhere you want. Those are kind of the home locations. Coming up after this, we'll talk with Terry Curtis and the Bulldogs. Coming up next. Final week of the regular season before playoffs start here on UTV 44 Metro PCS pregame show. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, Dalton Goff, Terry Curtis, head coach of the Bulldogs here as we get ready to look at the matchup tonight between UMS and St. Paul's. TC 7-2 on the year. One region loss, but because of the tie, going to end up being a 3 seed in the region with just one region loss. Speaks how well, you know, the region has gotten better over your years at UMS for sure.
Well, when they moved down to Louisville, where it made it better, and you know, we picked a bad time to play a bad game, so we getting kind of what we deserve. It is what it is, and you know, we'll go on the road, and it could work to our advantage. We can go up here and win a first round on the road. then we're going to get a #1 seed in the second round at home, and that's always good. So, you know, you got to play these guys anyway. So just to be in the playoffs, we're happy, and you know, we'll take it as they come.
Coach, do you coach any differently as the season goes along? Is your message different in August than it is in late October, or is it just, I got to deal with whatever I'm looking at right now?
No, I think it's different. You know, you've been doing it this long. You start out the season, you're trying to make sure fundamentally everything is good, and as you see how your team's going to be, and, you know, you kind of get a feel about halfway through if you think those guys have a chance, and so you start looking ahead and kind of, you know, probably, you know, 6, 7, 8, we looked at all those guys, and, you know, we even looked some at Dale County, you know, this week, seeing we're going to play in the first round, and you can say what you want to, but you're going to look a little ahead. Not that you're looking past St. Paul's or anything, but we look at St. Paul's as like a playoff game that's a practice game. We get a chance to have a playoff atmosphere, practice, work, do the things we got to do, just like the playoffs going to be. The only thing is, and we call it a practice game because we do get to play next week. Starting next week, if you don't play and you don't prepare and you don't do those things, it's all over.
Yep.
And I've seen a lot of seniors, and I told the guys today, I've seen a lot of seniors, you know, all of a sudden they look around and didn't play as well, didn't prepare as well, whatever it may be, and a lot of sad faces.
Yep.
So you just got to play because you can't forget, you can't let anybody go. Everybody's going to be decent, and if you don't bring your A game any week, you're capable of getting beat. You know, like I said, you got to catch the bracket right, and you got to be a little lucky in the playoffs. You're going to have a game or two. You know, I remember St. Paul's last year. You know, they were lucky to win at Greenville in the first or second round. Could have easily lost that game.
Won the state.
And win the state. And we've had games, I can tell you that, man, we got out of Beauregard one year. So, I mean, no, that's just part of it. But, you know, we take this game seriously. We want to win it. But at the same time, you know, we're kind of not going to show everything we got in the playoffs either.
All right, Dalton Guff, outside linebacker, started. What's this week like for you, getting ready, like Coach was just talking about? But, you know, we'll talk about the playoffs in a second. But let's talk a little bit about St. Paul's, because it is a special way to end the season every year.
Well, that loss 2 weeks ago against Thomasville, that was definitely a hiccup in us. But last week we played more of a sound game, and we're just starting to get more focused, and we're definitely focused for this week. And
the kids, I mean, the players across, I mean, you know so many. They know so many of you.
Yes,
you know so many of them. I mean, you're playing against some kids you've known your whole life, right?
Yes, sir. I know them all really well.
Social media this week, this is something we never used to talk about, but and I'm getting some smiles from the back of the room, but do you pay attention to that? And is that kind of heating up a little bit between schools and between players?
It's still early in the week right now, so there's not really much out there, but I guarantee by Friday there'll be something out there.
Okay.
All right, so, Dan was asking you, Terry, about coaching differently, but I mean, it is a luxury, if you will, and I don't think it's arrogance or anything like that, but when you go into a year, you know that your team's going to be a playoff team. I mean, there's a lot of teams that were, some teams that got bounced out last night that couldn't get into the playoffs. I mean, you know that you're able to look at a season, and it's, even from week 1 in August, you know your team's probably got a chance to have a pretty deep run in the postseason.
Well, you kind of look at it, and I think every school's deal is to win the region. You know, I think that's what you kind of set out to do, and we're no different. So once we saw that wasn't going to be possible, yeah, I guess you could say we tied for it. So we realistically still won the region or tied for the region or whatever. But it took us a while to get over the Thomasville deal. So, but the guys have kind of got, last week, you could see a little difference. And, and we're not good enough that we can just go out there and hopefully we're good enough to win or whatever. We've got to be on top of our game. We're small. We're not real big. We got some guys that can run a little bit, but we got to play our techniques and got to play with the right leverage and the things that you got to do to win. And hopefully that woke everybody up. And I told the guys, I said, either it wakes you up or we're not going to be around long. because we've shown that anybody can beat you. So,
And that's it's the exciting part, but it's the tear-jerking part, the finality that comes with it, especially for Friday nights for seniors that will never get a chance to play again. Well, we can't wait for this one. We're going to get Coach Maskin here and talk about the St. Paul's side of things here tonight. St. Paul's and UMS, our battle on Old Shell Road. Dalton, be careful out there. TC, we'll see you back here. He's waited 11 weeks to get to the silly questions that will come in the last section. I know he's excited about that. Metro PCS, we're here on Airport Boulevard all the way out by Schillinger. Got a couple locations. If you're a UMS fan, 1270 Spring Hill Avenue or 2206 Airport Boulevard, and they've all got the new iPhones in stock. Coming back, we'll talk about the Saints with head coach Steve Mass. That comes up right after this. Metro PCS pregame show here as we get ready for our final regular season game of the week on UTV 44. Jim Cox and Dan Brennan. Trevor McGill, defensive lineman for the St. Paul Saints. You know, this guy's Steve Mass, the head coach of the Saints. They come in 7-2, defending state champions. Lost this game last year, which I think kind of surprised some people along the way. But I know you were talking earlier in the week. As bad as that loss was, you felt that might have played a bit of a role in the success you had in the postseason.
Well, I think I don't say it woke us up, but it sure did shake us up. And actually, it took about a game and a half for us to get over it after getting beat by them, because we really didn't play that great in the first round against Sylacauga. We was just lucky enough to have a little bit better players than they did, and then we sort of sleptwalked during the first half of the Greenville game. But, man, it was a hard pill to swallow, but it was one that we deserved. They outplayed us. They out-angered us. They did everything better than we did. They out-coached us, and so consequently, they won the football game.
Yeah, and you went on to win state, and I think you both have talked about it. That's why you play. There's the rivalry that's for the fans, but from a coach's standpoint, I mean, I don't know if there's a better way to enter the playoffs than a game like this.
Well, you know, I told our kids the other day, our season's sort of divided up into 3 segments. You know, you got games 1 through 9 that the non-regions are in there, but they count as part of the tiebreaker process. Then you got your region games, and so after week 9, you're pretty well positioned where you're going to be playoff-wise. Then you have a 1-game season against your rival down the road,
and everybody lets you know about that 1-game season.
About that one deal, but it's still a 1-game season. So you put your little heart and soul into that thing and do the best you can, and then at 10 o'clock, you know, you gotta rejoice if you win, and you gotta figure out what went wrong if you lose. But as easy as it sounds, it's not easy to do. You got to try to put it behind you either way and get ready for the 3rd season, which is the one where you go get the blue mount.
Talk about your coach, Trevor, and what it is like playing for Coach Mask. And I know that maybe that's not a comfortable thing for you to say or talk about, but Jim and I have always really appreciated the way that Coach Mask cares for his kids and the very personal relationship that he has, it seems like, with each of you.
Well, you know, he's just like a really nice guy. You know, he's always there for you, and it's honestly like it's awesome playing for him. It's just great playing for him. You know.
How about this game and why this one means so much to you and everybody lined up along with you in blue tonight?
Well, you know, we know. I'm friends with a lot of people down at UMS, so I've been hearing about it for a solid year now, just about how they beat us, and all my friends will be getting it too. So it's just huge for us, so that because it's senior year, so I get the rest of my life too if we win.
It sounds like they're throwing a lot of wood on the fire down the street.
Hey, I know when you look at Terry's team, you always know you kind of know what you're going to get. Probably not a lot of secrets between you two. You're very close off the field as well. But looking at your team as a whole, now you've gone through the 9-game season, you got the 1, but just kind of assess your feeling as you look here toward the playoffs as well.
Well, you know, Jim, it's a different type of team than you're accustomed to seeing, you know, over the last 6 or 7 years. And when you think of St. Paul's, you talk about a team that's first of all is going to run the football and going to run it very, very well. I'm not saying we haven't done that very, very well, but it has not been the biggest component of our team as it has been in the past. You know, we're a little bit different in the past. We've had a guy that was there for 4 or 5 years, and then a guy before him that was there for 2 or 3 years. We don't have that guy right now. We're sort of doing it by committee, by a couple of years.
I mean, after 11 years, Austin McPherson will not be in the lineup tonight?
He's vested in the retirement system of Alabama, so he's moved on to bigger and better things.
He was the best 3rd-grade running back I ever saw.
Absolutely. But we're a team now that if you'd told me 4 years ago we were going to be a team that has actually thrown the ball for more yards than running, that had you committed. But we really have. We're about, you know, we're more balanced a little bit more throwing than passing. So it's a different team than you've seen before. I'll just say that.
Is that just a kind of a way to see how football has changed over your coaching career as well? Because, 20 years ago, you just didn't. If you couldn't run the ball, you were in big trouble. You didn't have that option to sling it around the yard.
Well, I don't know if it's changed because if I had my druthers, I still run it seven out of 10 times. I think it's just a matter of guys that are willing to adapt with what you got on the field. We happen to have a quarterback that's very talented. We happen to have a group of receivers that are very talented. They're not just astronomically fast, but they all catch the ball real good, run good routes. So I think you can be hard-headed and beat your head against the wall. You can just say, you know what, we throw it pretty good. So let's take advantage of what's in here. We don't have the luxury of picking and choosing every year what we're going to have. So we adapt. That's one thing, give Terry a lot of credit for. Terry's an I formation guy. In his heart, he's still an I formation guy, but he's been smart enough to take advantage of the people he's had to spread the field and do some things. So I think that's one reason why us older guys are willing to look at things and adapt a little bit. If we want to stick around, we have to do that.
Yeah, well, and it just shows that's why you're the coaches that you are, and the kind of coaches that you are. So, aside from the fans and the chirping, UMS, when you see them, what do y'all have to do to be successful defensively tonight against the Bulldogs?
Well, we really just have to stop the run and just make sure that if we can stop the run and stop Michael Matthews and stop Tanner from running, then I think we'll be very successful in defense.
We can't wait.
No,
we're excited. We always love this game. It's one of our favorites to do every year.
That's a couple of good athletes you just talked about right there. And
absolutely.
Matthews and Tanner. So that's not. I can see that's their goal, but St. Paul's won't make it easy.
We can't wait to see it. Coach,
UMS
stick around.
won't make it easy.
Yeah, Trevor, great to meet you. Be safe out there tonight. All right, Metro PCS, our pregame show. We're at the West Mobile location. St. Paul Saints fan, 1270 Spring Hill Avenue or 2206 Airport Boulevard down there closer to the interstate. They've got the new iPhones. When we come back, we'll have both coaches with us. We'll talk about the game tonight and some silly questions to get you ready for kickoff tonight between UMS and St. Paul's right here on UTV 44. Metro PCS pregame show getting ready for kickoff about 10 minutes away here on UTV 44. Jim Cox, Dan Brennan, and just two of our favorites. We love all the coaches, but two of our dear favorites, Steve Mask, St. Paul's, Terry Curtis, who's been with us since we've been doing it. One of the few coaches that's probably been, same place the whole time that we've been doing this.
And I don't know if you said this on the air or during a break, but tonight, this show doesn't need us.
No, these two, it'd be better if they were just here.
I mean, just
I remember when I had y'all for every playoff game.
Oh, the Bulldog Network.
Wherever we went.
I always tell, we're some stories.
We got some stories there, buddy.
But I do remember this. When we started doing this.
If y'all write a book, it'll be a me and Sel.
It will be.
Terry would buy every copy.
Terry, so I remember we started doing. There were some schools and some coaches that were like, yeah, I don't know if you want to be on TV or whatever. And Terry Curtis was the first guy. He's like, Jim and Dan, you're welcome every week at UMS.
They talk about Salvarez. He wouldn't let them do their game.
No, we still can't because he was not a huge.
Gets on us, nobody does the game. I can't believe y'all know that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, those Coach Salvarez, we've only been telling you that for 16 years. I'm just saying. So that's it. But that's also why we can't be live during the playoffs. But that's a whole different story. Okay, so I'll just quickly. Is y'all veteran coaches, lots of big games, getting ready for playoffs? I mean, still that same feeling on a Friday night, TC, before UMS St. Paul's as you had 15 years ago?
Well, yeah. I mean, coaching's coaching. No matter, some games are bigger, just like your players do, just like your administration does, just like your community does. So everybody knows the games. I mean, I think it's one of the reasons, even not off the subject, but the playoffs, a lot of times in the first round, your crowd's kind of down. It's because your fans say, oh, first round game, they're going to beat them. I'm going to wait till they play somebody, that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's always fun to play in games that mean something. It means something to the kids. It means something to the coaches. It means something to everyone involved, and it always has, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, we can feel it. I mean, we know when we can feel it before the games. All right, so we're ready to start with our questions here. Yeah, already. We'll get right. We got a lead. We got a lot of. No.
That's the reason I hate
I'm going to get you a life. I know that you're a man about town and all this kind of stuff, but I have got to get you a life.
All right, one movie you can quote the most. What's one movie you can quote the most?
You want to know, really?
Well,
Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh, there you go.
The original.
I get it.
Hey, I'll take a Diablo sandwich and a Dr. Pepper.
I wanted to quote Jackie Gleason, but I can't. And I understand bootlegging once in a while. Anyway.
Well, probably Dumb and Dumber, but
Oh,
my
that's
favorite
me.
is Major League.
Oh.
Because I just really thought I was going to see old Wild Thing come out there last night and throw out the first pitch.
He's back in the
We can star in Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah, he's back in the California Penal League. That's why he wasn't able to throw out the first pitch.
Willie Mays Hayes.
Holiday, see, this is why they don't need us. This is why they don't need us. Pumpkin spiced anything for you?
Pie. Had some today.
I had the same.
No.
Yeah, no, I don't get that. Don't get that at all.
I rather had carrot cake, but it was okay.
All right, how about people dressing up their dogs for Halloween? You into that?
No.
Don't have a dog, no, we'll have
I
a
got
dog.
two.
You know what? You had a dog. I remember you and I had tears in our eyes one night at dinner talking about our first dogs. I do remember.
I did have one, Bobo.
Dogs must get dressed up as ugly.
We're learning an awful lot
Yes.
tonight.
Okay, and not to get political, but here we go. Would you rather see Donald Trump temporarily lose his toupee or his voice?
Probably his voice, without a doubt.
I don't even think that's a question.
All right, just to make sure.
That's a great comedy show, him and Hillary.
All right. You dress up as Hillary Clinton for Halloween, or your wife only gets to wear the ultra stylist Hillary pantsuit from now through Christmas.
I don't have a wife. I would answer that question.
Oh well. Okay. All right. What's you?
I'll take the suit.
I will.
I wouldn't dress up like that.
I'll
All
take
right.
the suit.
Weather's getting a little cooler. Dan Brennan says, "Hey, I'm putting together a camping weekend. In to go camping with Brennan?"
Don't do it. Don't do
Why
it.
did I hear a banjo in the background?
You go camping?
No.
Camping. I want
I
a
keep hearing
holiday.
a banjo somewhere in the background.
I'm not going camping with my wife.
Kickoff comes up. Inner pantsuit for
hot water
Hillary.
and ESPN, I ain't
Kickoff.
going.
The Saints. The Bulldogs next on UTV 44.